आइए अब आपको सीधे लिए चलते हैं विदेश मंत्रालय की ओर से हो रही एक प्रेस वार्ता में जो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के रूस और मध्य एशिया के दौरे को लेकर हो रही है।
The 8th and 9th of July, the 7th BRICS summit is going to be held. As you can imagine, the Prime Minister is leading the Indian delegation to the summit. The manner in which the summit will unfold is the following. On the 8th, the leaders are going to meet in an informal milieu over dinner. The formal summit program will begin on the 9th. There will be an official welcome, then there will be the customary meeting that leaders have with members of the BRICS Business Council. The BRICS Business Council comprises 5 business leaders from each member state. The Business Council stays in touch through the years and they present an annual report to their leaders, so that will be the business that they will transact in that meeting. Thereafter, the formal summit program begins. This is a 2-part program. There's a restricted session, which includes a working lunch and a plenary. The theme of this summit is BRICS Partnership, a powerful factor for global development. The agenda for the summit covers both political and economic issues, but the emphasis is on the economic cooperation. After the plenary, there will be a signing ceremony, and the BRICS part will, the formal BRICS part will conclude with a media interaction. Subsequent to that, continuing a practice that began about, I think, 2 summits ago, there will be what is called a BRICS outreach session. Russia, as the chair of BRICS, has invited the leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, both members and observers, as well as the members of the Eurasian Economic Union, as also Azerbaijan and Turkmenistan. So there will be a total of 12 leaders who will be meeting the 5 BRICS leaders for that session. And that outreach session is anticipated to carry on about an hour and a half, and then it concludes with the reception. What I do want to say is that the normal cycle of activities of BRICS includes a large number of activities which carry on through the year. So in the course of the Russian chairmanship, there have been a large number of pre-summit meetings. These include a meeting of trade ministers of the BRICS Business Forum, a meeting of national statistical authorities, a meeting of the Economic Forum, as also of the BRICS Academic Forum and the Think Tank Council. So in other words, these are both governmental and non-governmental level meetings that are part of the normal cycle. Russia is convening a meeting of finance ministers immediately prior to the UFA summit in Moscow on the 7th of July. Other meetings that have been held in the run-up in the last few months have included a meeting of environment ministers, of health ministers, of national security advisors, of ministers of culture, the BRICS Civil Society Forum, which took place a couple of days ago, and a BRICS Youth Summit, which is happening now. That is as far as the program itself goes. For us, we regard this as a very important forum for consolidating positions among 5 significant economies in the world on issues of common interest. The most significant issues in this format are issues of governance, as well as of coordination and cooperation on global economic and financial issues. In our view, some of the most significant achievements that this forum has registered are the new development bank. As you perhaps may recall, we have the first president of the BRICS Development Bank is an Indian, the eminent banker, Mr. K.V. Kamath. He will be at the summit. He has already started his activities as the president. And he will be joining the leaders at the summit. Prior to that, he will be in a meeting of the BRICS Bank Board of Governors, also in Moscow on the 7th of July. In addition, there has been significant interbank cooperation among the development banks of the 5 countries. And other fora for economic interaction have crystallized. I've been speaking about the BRICS Business Council, there's a BRICS Business Forum, and so on. I think that's as much as I want to say at this point, and the rest then we'll look for your questions. Thank you.
Now invite Secretary West to make his opening statement.
Thank you, Vikas, and good afternoon, everybody. The Prime Minister would be going to UFA for BRICS after visiting 2 Central Asian countries, and on his way back from UFA, he will be visiting 3 other Central Asian countries. So what I'll do is I'll just talk about the Central Asian visit, all 5 countries. In terms of program details, first, the first country he visits on the 7th is Uzbekistan. This will be followed by Kazakhstan, and then he goes to UFA for the BRICS and the BRICS outreach. Thereafter, on the way back, he will go to Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan in that order. In all these countries, there are the normal program details. There will be discussions, there will be restricted meetings with the leaders, there will be signing of agreements, there will be all the ceremonies related to these visits in terms of banquets and all that. The details of each day's program I don't think I need to get into, but I can touch upon some of the major things. For instance, in Uzbekistan, he will be having an interaction with Indologists and Hindi language students. Tashkent is one of the centers of Indology in the world, and which has a very extensive history of Indological studies. He would also be in Kazakhstan. He would be making his major address at the Nazarbayev University, and he would also be visiting and inaugurating the India-Kazakhstan Center for Excellence in ICT, where a Param supercomputer has been stationed. There will be a business event also in Kazakhstan with leading CEOs from both sides. In Turkmenistan, there will be the inauguration, amongst other things. I'm just mentioning certain highlights, not the whole program, of the Center for Traditional Medicine and Yoga. But this is the first such center that's going to be set up in this entire region with the help of the Turkmen government. Not help, but participation. So while there may be many private clubs practicing yoga, this would be, and it's not just yoga, it's also traditional medicine. In Kyrgyzstan, he's also got a packed program in which he would be inaugurating, I'm just mentioning one event per visit, the e-health link. So there will be a virtual link is being set up with one of the hospitals in Bishkek, with hospitals in India. And this is a pilot project which will then be hopefully replicated in many other cities. Similarly, in Tajikistan, he would be having very detailed discussions with President Ramon, and he would have a number of other engagements. Now, each of these visits, what I want to underline, is in an intensely packed, very short visit. I mean, the Prime Minister will be barely spending 24 hours at the maximum in any of the countries. To give you some idea of the region, I'm sure you're all familiar with different aspects of it, but very broadly speaking, to talk about the approach, this is a very important region and it's not very far away from us. Modern politics may come in the way, but it's actually an extended neighborhood of India, and there are very old historical, cultural linkages which can be traced back at least 2,500 years. There is a huge groundswell of goodwill for India, and we have been working in these countries since they became independent countries in 1991 in different areas, in health, in capacity building, in entrepreneur development, in training, and in several projects. The countries of this region have several things going for them. Particularly, they are resource-rich countries. There is the potential of a great partnership with India, which can be very critical for providing us energy security in oil and gas. Just to give you an idea, Turkmenistan is has the fourth largest gas reserves in the world. Kazakhstan is one of the major oil producers. Kazakhstan is the largest uranium producer in the world. And the other countries, they are also rich in several other minerals. There is a potential for increasing our trade and investment, which so far has been hampered by the fact of lack of surface connectivity. So while we may be very close, it's very difficult to get containers across there. And so this is something which we are going to come to. I'll come to and what we are sort of looking for. But there is a potential for increasing trade and investment. So far, it's patchy and it's not at the level as that we would like it to be. There is a complementarity in the needs of these countries and what India can provide in many ways, whether we are talking of health, we're talking of education, we are talking of training, we are talking of developing hydro projects, we are talking of developing potential for fertilizer production. And there is a complementary here, there's a matching here at the economic points that our country is and these countries are, which needs to be explored. So hence these very short but very critical visits to all these countries. Incidentally, this is the first time that at least we know of, that in recent years, that any leader is doing all 5 countries in one go. It's very important to go across and underline the serious intent that India has of becoming a partner with these countries and to bring across the potential of modern India, whether we see it in terms of science and technology or capacity building or even space, to these countries and to leaders and to build personal relationships with them. We are also going to address the major problem, which is connectivity. There is the North-South corridor, which has been discussed earlier, which has been worked upon for a few years now. And this is an opportunity that we will be hoping to push this further so that we can get a wider membership in the North-South corridor. As you know, we've recently made moves in Chabahar, and ultimately this is something which is also going to link up. There are other transit agreements there which are in operation in the region, which we hope to explore and to see how we can utilize existing arrangements to promote our trade and investment until the point that we can actually have straightforward connectivity. It's also an area which has seen stability, but also seen certain amount of instability and threat from extremist groups and terrorist groups. So there is a commonality of concern there in terms of building counterterrorism linkages. We have joint working groups with many of these countries, but this visit, we hope, will provide further impetus to this cooperation at a time when these countries and the entire region, in fact, is worried about extremist forces. And I'm talking about the post-2014 Afghanistan scenario also. As many of these countries, at least 3 of these countries, I think, border Afghanistan. Some of them have extensive borders. Tajikistan almost has 1,500 kilometers border with Afghanistan. So the impact of what happens in Afghanistan concerns this area, concerns India. So we would be looking forward to having extensive discussions on the regional issues, particularly in the context of the SCO, which is a regional organization also concerned with issues like terrorism and drug trafficking and so on. So I think this, I'm just giving you a feel of what the sort of approach to the visit is and what are the kind of issues that will come up. And we'll be happy to take further questions and carry on the conversation. Thanks.
Thank you. We will now open the floor for questions. Please note that this briefing is confined to Prime Minister's visit to Central Asia and to the SCO and the BRICS summits. So please confine your questions to that. Yes, the first question.
Thank you so much for reminding me. That is a major project which has potential from our energy security point of view. And the TAPI will certainly be a point which will be discussed, and we'll have to explore how we can move this project forward very quickly. It has tremendous potential for helping us get Central Asian gas to India.
तो विदेश मंत्रालय की पत्रकार वार्ता को आप सुन रहे थे। दरअसल जुलाई के दूसरे हफ्ते में प्रधानमंत्री मोदी विदेश यात्रा में होंगे, जहां वो रूस की यात्रा में जाएंगे। उसके अलावा मध्य एशिया के देशों में वो जाएंगे। कजाकिस्तान, तुर्कमेनिस्तान, किर्गिस्तान और ताजिकिस्तान उन देशों में है जहां उनकी यात्रा होगी। उसके अलावा ब्रिक्स सम्मेलन होना है, उसमें भी वो भागीदारी करेंगे। इन सब देशों में क्या कुछ कार्यक्रम रहेंगे उसको लेकर के विदेश मंत्रालय ने बताया। और साथ ही जो मध्य एशिया की यात्रा है वो कहीं ना कहीं ऊर्जा सुरक्षा की दृष्टि से और उसके साथ ही इन देशों सामाजिक, सांस्कृतिक, आर्थिक और सामरिक संबंधों पर भी काफ़ी कुछ हो सकता है, ये विदेश मंत्रालय की ओर से कहा गया है।